Hello and welcome to Mixologist, the place on the internet thingy where we go all in with carburetor maximization. Case in point, this unit, we've got a 3236 DGV Weber carb that a client actually sent in, and basically he's gonna go racing. So what we need to do is we need to like totally max this unit out. That's his kind of brief for me. So what I'm gonna do now in this there's gonna be like a series of carbs of videos about this unit, and what we are gonna do is we are gonna kind of go through this carb and absolutely trying to kind of max it out and marginal gain the heck out of it. So let me first introduce the project by just showing you around the unit, and in this video probably what we're going to do is we're gonna do like the basic disassembly cleaning, and we're gonna kind of lay out the foundations of the project, and I'm gonna show you kind of some tricks and some areas that you need to kind of look out to see if you are kind of maximizing the performance. But first, let's have a look at the unit. I think this is a relatively kind of good core. Obviously it has a warning sign here, drilled jets. So obviously we're gonna have to maybe chuck them in the bin because we don't know exactly what they are or aren't, but that's okay. That's not a problem. We're gonna have to reject it anyway. And it is a kind of 3236. What we're missing here a bit is the kind of the linkage, but that's okay. We're gonna kind of put some linkage, but crucially the as you can see there, the shafts are working fine. So that's a good sign. Everything that moves, let me just check very quickly. Yeah, everything that moves should move. So it's actually a relatively good kind of core to rebuild this unit. Obviously we're going to eliminate the choke. One of the things that I need to check in the regulations of this particular kind of race category is if I can kind of remove this choke tower or remove as much as I can. We may or may not be able to do that, so I need to check. But basically one of the main things that we're gonna do here is we're gonna be working especially on this shaft, the secondary, and what we are going to do is our aim is going to be to lose this part, then put some really low profile screws here and here and have really a kind of less cross-sectional area in here. And on the primary side it's going to be a little bit kind of similar story. So we're going to try to put much lower profile screws here and try to give this a little bit of a shave, just so again reducing the cross-sectional area, reducing the restriction caused by the by the throttle. And then what we are going to do is on the secondary, what we're going to do is we're going to really kind of try and max out this Venturi. So again, and all of this stuff we're gonna kind of go slowly, and it's gonna be like a series, so we're not gonna do it in the first video. But actually I just wanted to show you that this core is a relatively nice core in relatively kind of good nick, so it's a good base to work from. So what we're gonna do now is let's start doing the disassembly for it. Okay, so we've done the initial disassembly here. And I have a couple of observations. Evidently, somebody has been kind of messing about a bit with this carb before kind of it came to me. And I'm going to show you, and now I understand why it said drill jets. So let's go through it, and I'll explain what are the elements that tell me that this carb has been kind of tricked out in the past. Number one, when I took off the let's say the top of the carb, yeah, I noticed that number one, you didn't have like a power valve diaphragm assembly here, so that's a bit of a okay, how does this work? Anyway, so as it's not there, then you can see there that that's the other bit of the power valve, the release valve in a sense, and this has been kind of blanked off. And here's the point: why do you need to drill out the jets then? Because if this is blanked off, then you need to kind of drill out the jets to make them obviously larger, so that to compensate for the effect of the power valve. Kind of when in a Holley carb, this is the same thing that in a Holley carb, if you blank off the power valve, you need to add about 8 or 10 sizes to the jet size. So that's, and the other one, which I was thinking of doing it anyway, is if you look here, it's 250 on the fuel inlet, which is absolutely huge, because generally the standard is a 175 in here. So obviously having a 250 here gives me the cue that somebody must have been inside here and already have been working on it. So I think I'm gonna put a 250 valve. The only thing in here is I'm gonna have to kind of obtain new jets, because I don't like drilled jets as such. I think they are not as precise, and you see somebody even got the jets, they filed away the numbers of the jets, which is really helpful. There we go. So they're filed away. Great. Anyway, so let me start by kind of cleaning all this bits and bobs, and then what we're gonna do, once this is clean, I'm gonna do some initial measurements here that are gonna be important kind of for the rest of the project. Okay, so I think I need to explain now why I've got this rather large magnifying glass station here, and it's because of the following. You know, when I was disassembling this unit, it became obvious that the jets were drilled, and also it said jet drills in the choke tower, so fair. But what's the problem? I've got absolutely no idea what they have been drilled to, and B, whether that was kind of adequate in terms of the functioning of the carb. So if the jets were kind of like drilled too much, it wouldn't have been good. So I've no way of telling how the jets were or not. So what I did is the following. Let me see if it can go on camera. I don't know if you can see it very well there in the camera, but what I did is I grabbed kind of a known jet that I've got there. This is a 140, and the jets that came with the carb, somebody took the trouble of eliminating the numbers on the jets, which isn't that great. So what you have to do then is put like the drilled jet and the kind of jet that came with the carb side by side like that. So one, you know exactly the number, and the other one you don't, and therefore what you do is compare the holes, and that should give you kind of more or less a ballpark to start with. Yeah, so for this particular build, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 155 jets on the primary and 180 in the secondary. Again, this is going to be just merely a approximation first start. I don't know if they're going to be absolutely bang on or not. And generally what I do at the start is I try to err on the side of probably richness rather than leanness. So I would rather have something that is a tad rich, and then we can put lower jets rather than get something that kind of leans out at high RPM and breaks the pistons, because that wouldn't be good. So anyway, this is the kind of the technique I use for determining the jets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start doing a bit of kind of measuring out in terms of venturis and all those lovely things. Okay, so here's where we're going to take the precision, you know, up a notch, maybe 2 notches. So what I've got here is I've got my metric micrometer, and it goes from 25 to 50, and I've got it set up now for kind of 32 mil. So this is kind of step 1. And then so what I did as well is I set up kind of this dial bore gauge here, and if you can see there we go. Hopefully you can see it there. There we go. Let me bring it a bit closer so you can see it. And basically what I did is I zeroed the dial here, and obviously once you get the dial zeroed, well, one thing you can do in order to check that it's working is to slightly move the micrometer from the measuring you want. But actually there's fine, so I know that the tool is kind of working. So now what I need to do is the following. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put it that way so you can see it. I'm going to measure round here. Okay, so interesting. So wow. So okay, it's here. So basically what this is telling me is that the top of the bore, yeah, is slightly smaller than 32 mil by kind of 0.10 of a millimeter. But as I start going down the bore, thereabouts in the middle of the shaft, I guess, yeah, thereabouts, it's 32 mil bang on, and at the bottom of the bore is a little bit more than 32 mil. I'll bring up a little bit closer and do it. Try to do it a bit freehand so you can see kind of what I'm getting at. You can see it there. So you can see it there. I'm at the top of the bore there, and you can see the reading. There we go. And as I start going down the bore now, oh, look at that. So basically this tells me that it's like a cone shape. If I do it like this, where the throttle channel is, it's kind of a bit like this shaped, and obviously if the carve's like this, so it is like this. Obviously I'm exaggerating kind of because this is micrometric really. You can't even see it from the naked eye. But what this tells me is that what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to do a little bit of kind of polishing on the top of the bore and not on the bottom. Yeah, so what I need to do now is which is going to be a subject of the next video, is going to be doing this kind of slight remedial work to this part here in order to and always you have to check the other bit of the bore just to make sure it's the same. Yeah. So it's kind of, it's consistent, taking measurements kind of on both sides, so I think it's okay. Obviously you always have to kind of treat these tools with quite a lot of love, because they're very delicate. So now what we're going to do is, now that we ascertained kind of where the slight kind of mistakes are in the bore, we're going to try and correct them. That's going to be next video. But anyway, one thing important though is, don't assume kind of that your carbs are gonna all have the same problem. What I'm doing here is I am working on this particular unit, and I've got no idea whether all of them have the same problem, or it's just a problem of this particular unit that I'm seeing here. But at least I know where the problems are from this particular unit, because I've got evidence from the measurements, which is important. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of stop the episode here, because I need to get the polishing materials in order to, you know, make this good. And I want to say thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode.